What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some of the secrets that I think people are starting to find based off this new Gotham Knights video that came out. Obviously, it was, supposed to be, and it mainly is, talking about the architecture, the, how the city is actually created, not necessarily the open world elements, and that stuff is way more interesting to me than the, the culture of the city and the way that they did it. But by showing us specifically the map a couple times, we did get a couple insights as to how this thing works. So I want to talk about what we actually saw. Now, one of the most interesting things obviously is the map, right? You get to see all the actual districts, and it looks really good. And I like when they've shown us the actual image of the map when they're kind of panning their way through it, and they show it in the open world. I mean, this is a big map, and it's a map that really I feel like is going to connect. While to their credit, and as they've said, each kind of district is going to be very different than the other one. One will be more bustling with life. Now, I do have an issue I do want to talk about with the lack of life, in the gameplay that they showed us. But one thing I want to talk about first is the actual visual. So when they were on the picture of the map, if you look to the bottom right, that's the most important thing in my opinion. There is one other thing I do want to talk about. If you look at the bottom right, it talks about like criminal activity, it talks about faction presence, and it talks about collectibles. So you can see in the collectibles, looks like batarangs you're gonna be able to find out throughout the city. Maybe it's like stuck in a hole somewhere the Batman threw, and he, his back was too, beat up in order to bend down and pick it up. You see something that looks like, talons, like Court of Owls, maybe some sort of like letter or some sort of writing. You see graffiti, which is, I think that's what that is. It's going to be something like a mural on a wall, which would make sense from what they've shown us in the, even around Montreal, they've done like spray painting, around the city. And I really don't know what that last one could be. I mean, like, if you look at it face value, maybe it looks like a vent, so maybe there's like vents that you would go. I'm not sure about that last one, but I'm pretty confident in my ability to surmise the first three. But you look above it, faction presence, we actually get two. So they let the cat out of the bag inadvertently. I don't think they, obviously they haven't told us what these are yet. And you see two different images of what the factions are. Now, I've never pretended to know a lot about Batman lore. I've always kind of given it to the audience. So I gave it over to Twitter and asked, hey, what do you guys think? Who are these? And of course, I want to know from you guys in the comments. It seems like the first one, the F, it could be Freaks, which I think would tie in Hugo Strange, or it could be Anarchy, which would make sense because of Origins and just the graffiti idea of, how that actual, like the F looks like it would then be Freaks, but the graffiti element of it, and you think of Anarchy and you think of Arkham Origins being in that, then it could potentially be that. The one on the right, Paragon Courage said, I bet the QR code, first of all, someone try it. I have not done that yet, but could be Riddler or even potentially Clue Master. It could be Clue Master because they've said Riddler's not in the game, or they said like there's one Riddler trophy in the entirety of the game. They could be lying, but I want to kind of take them at face value with saying the Joker's not in the game and Riddler's not in the game. So that could potentially give us, so like the Talons are definitely a faction, and this potentially gives us two more. Actually, we know about the Regulators, right? Mr. Freeze's. So it looks like we could be up to 4 of the 5, probably, factions in the entire game. I know there's been speculation that people have spotted this Black Mask looking, or that's like a white mask, and they think that it's connected to Black Mask's gang. So Black Mask's group could be which would make sense again. I mean, I feel like they're kind of going back sometimes to old favorites from Origins, and then sometimes they're doing, new things. But that could be the 5th one. We may know all 5. If Black Mask and his goons are the 5th one, then you may have that. And I also want to talk about, James sent me this, and I did notice this as well. Again, as they're cycling through the map, you can look on the actual map. So there's a lot of different things. There's obviously fast travel, looks like, in this game, but there's a very clear image of what looks to be like a talon, like a big owl. And I imagine that's like a hideout or like a base, but like when you look at the map, there's really not that much there. Even in the first time they show the map, there's not too much that they're showing, and maybe things aren't popping up or they're hiding things on purpose. But this one like stands out. So I mean, it could just be like a normal watchtower. This could be the idea of a watchtower. So when you see this symbol on the map and it's this like prevalent, it's this big, that could be, okay, this is one of the major lookout towers, or maybe underground things. They focused a lot on underground. There's going to be a lot of underground like sequences in the game. So it could be just a camp hideout, basically, for, in this case, it's like the Talons. So you take it over, and then you're kicking them out of that area, and then maybe you do it for Anarchy, you do it for Mr. Free, like, so on, so on. I would imagine that's a pretty solid, I guess, speculation or guess in general. Up at the top, it says map, case files, and then they noticeably blank out the thing after that. So map, case files, blank, challenges, gear, abilities, database, email. Now, well, case, like, I would say quests would be the one that they blocked out. I guess it probably isn't, though, because case files is probably like the nice way, or like a unique way of saying quests, right? So when you have your list of side quests, and you have like your percentages, like you're 26% done with the Mr. Freeze quest. I imagine that's in case files. I could be wrong. I mean, it could be that mystery one, but I feel like that's that one. Maybe that third one is the factions. Like, it literally is factions, and you take them out like in Assassin's Creed, like you kind of like X them out, right? Like, it could something like that. So you know what? Maybe I would say that right now, if case files counts for quests, then I would say that blocked out one is most likely, it could just be as simple as saying factions, or maybe villains. I mean, you could do something like that, but I think something like that. But if case files doesn't count quests, but see, like, why would you black out quests? Like, I mean, like, the quest names would probably be spoiler. You'd want to get rid of those, but to block out that one of the tabs at the top is quest doesn't really, so maybe it is factions or villains, and they just don't want to kind of show that yet. Two slight weaknesses, by the way, in terms of the actual visuals they showed us in the game. I'm not a fan of how dead most of the city looked. Again, it goes based off of like the district, so I'm not saying the entire game would be like that, but I'm not like thrilled. And it's also possible they like turned it off. You can do that. We've kind of seen that even with like Sonic, where sometimes like they've shown gameplay where it's almost like purposeful that there are no enemies, and then they put enemies in for a different showcase. So it's possible they did that. I'm not a fan of how little is. And also, while I literally just said yesterday, like, Robin is a standout, and I like that they showed Robin. It's actually kind of funny that Robin, even though you saw very little physical, fighting in this, it's funny that they use Robin for this showcase. But I really don't like his teleporter. I think I mean, again, like, playing it is absolutely different than watching it. I am not a fan of how that kind of takes you out of it. It's cool in terms of, honestly, it looks like it's going to be able to get you very, very far distances, and, has like a timer. Like, I think you have 7 seconds is what it looks like, and maybe you can upgrade that, I'd imagine. But like, when you do that teleporter, you have 7 seconds, and you can kind of put your where your spawner is going to be, whatever you want to call it. You're going to be able to put that wherever you want and then teleport there. I just feel like it kind of breaks up the game. Maybe I'm used to gliding, right, where it's like seamless and you're actually doing it. Teleporting is like you're moving around, you're using your grapple gun to, like, say, get yourself onto a big build, and then like you're jumping off of that, so it's all seamless, it's all very fluid, and then you're stopping yourself, you're pausing, and you're teleporting, and then you go dark, and like the screen kind of changes. That's just being flat out honest. I'm really not a fan of that, and that is a major turnoff to me with Robin just in general. I'm not saying like Red Hood jumping on thin air is any better or any worse. I'm just saying, I think gliding, is but they also showed, the advanced when he's got like the huge wings in the sky. So that's obviously, and they talked about that. I think each of them, or maybe that's one general one. I think you have to upgrade to get to that. Basically, you're not going to get that right away. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you want to follow or support me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.